Tips and
Oh
tricks.
man. All right, Ray. So again, this podcast is a podcast. It's a different type of podcast, right? So, what this podcast is going to be about as educators, how you grow your social media as educators.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And you have your presence on social media, and I have mine. And we're on different platforms. I don't know how many platforms you're on, but I'm on a few, and some I do better than others. Some perform better than others. But let's do that. How many platforms are you on?
Me, I was on a bunch. I was on Instagram, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn a little bit, but mainly I had to focus on one for me,
Yeah,
and just stay on TikTok for now. And then trying to figure out how to expand just with time. Time is you have your life, you have your job, you have your family, but trying to put out content and give some value to people in different platforms can be challenging if you don't have the right system. So I'm just
yeah,
on TikTok right now.
just TikTok. Yeah, so I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and then if you count my podcast, it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well.
Okay.
I don't really do Twitter. I don't really do. I feel like I probably should do Facebook better.
Hmm.
Um, I got to start a new Facebook because I feel like the Facebook that I was using just was an old personal Facebook and it just doesn't get the same traction. So I feel like if I just started fresh, which I'm going to start in this new year, brand new, fresh, I feel like I could grow it pretty quick. Um, I'm going to say that I've dedicated maybe for the last 2 years, I've been hard social media, like really pressing for it. And it started. This would be the end of the second year. My first, 2 years ago, I started on TikTok, and right now, I have something like 66,000 followers, or something like that, 67,000 followers. Um, but it was just creating a video every single day. That was my thing. And it was real like scripted when I first started. My first year, I would say, it was when I first started, it was very scripted. I wrote my scripts out every day. Like I would write it out and then I'd shoot and I'd cut and I'd make a mistake and I'd cut and I'd do all these cuts. So you couldn't tell that I made mistakes because I'd cut it so much. It just looked like I purposely cut it and zoomed in and zoomed out and did these things, these little tricks to mask the fact that I wasn't being able to get my point across in one take. So like the first few ones, and then I would say the first few months, I wasn't even speaking in my TikToks, whatever. I wasn't even speaking. It was just like me voicing over certain things, stuff like that. And then I started to give my real opinion, maybe like 10-minute takes, 15-minute take. I'm sorry, 10-second takes,
Yeah.
15-second takes, 20-second takes, real short. And then I got into the creator program after my first year where I would get paid and I had to do 1 minute takes. And I was like, oh man, this is a lot more. How do I do that?
Hmm.
So then went back to my script and I was scripting stuff the second year. And I would say that this year, I would say for the last maybe 6 months, I really haven't scripted anything. It's been just pulling out my phone and just recording, trying to do one takers as best I could
Right.
because I don't have that time. I don't
Hmm.
have that time like I used to. Like this new job that I have right now, I don't have that time. So it's like, okay, you got to make it happen now. Like, you got to make it happen right now. And so it's just like, and it's really organic and it's just pulling out my phone in my car. In my car, I feel the most comfortable because
Yeah.
I'm in my car. The phone's right there. Nobody could hear me. I'm
Right.
usually parked in my driveway or whatever, and nobody sees me. So I just feel my most comfortable there. This last few, I don't know, maybe like 3 months or so, I've been doing it as I'm walking my dog. So I pull out my phone and I walk my dog and I'm just walking my dog and I'm talking outside. And some of those have gotten pretty good traction where it's just walking my dog and just me talking about something off the top of my head, something that I feel like I could speak on. My most recent one, I feel like I got a lot of traction was my Thanksgiving one where I talked about like not everybody had a good Thanksgiving or something like that. I said
Right.
some not every student had a good Thanksgiving, give them grace, give them love, something like that. But it was because I was at the gym and I was it just thought was going through my head about that. Got left the gym, was walking in the parking lot, pulled out my phone as I was walking in the parking lot, cars are passing, people are passing, and I was just like, hey, and I'm just talking as and that's one thing that I want to get over is my fear of speaking in public, in a public place. Like,
Mhm.
let me walk through a crowd and talk. That's
Right.
hard to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's hard to do to just ignore everybody. Just ignore everybody. Like as a grown man, as a 47-year-old man, right? Maybe you're young, you get
No,
a pass, right? You get
I
a pass
I
because you're
don't.
young. But
Mm-mm.
as a 47-year-old man, to pull out your phone and just start talking to the camera, it's a little intimidating. It's a little intimidating, right? One thing that I've recently purchased, I got as a gift, was a DJI. Let me show you. I got this this camera right here,
Oh yeah, yeah.
DJI Osmo Pocket 3, right? So like, I'm gonna turn it on right now, right? And so this is it right here. This is the little camera right now. It's like I can record myself, like I could press record. Right now it's recording, right? And it's
Okay.
facing me. And so this is easy to like, I don't know, if I just had it right here and it has face tracking, so it'll track your face. So I've been using this and it has great it's really HD. It's real high definition. So sometimes I'm just walking and I'm talking like this and it has face tracking. It comes with a little microphone.
So that records you.
Yes. It's
Oh
just
wow.
recording. So like I'll put this little microphone on right here. Like I'll put it on my shirt. There's a magnet too, so you could just magnetize it to like somewhere on your shirt right here. And I could just be walking and I don't have to speak so loudly. Like I'll put it right here
Hmm.
as I'm walking and I'll just like kind of talk in a low tone, like,
Hmm.
and, um, that's what I've been doing with this. So I've been practicing getting over the fear, the embarrassment of speaking as I'm walking. Cause it's embarrassing to me at first, like it
Yeah.
has been. And I haven't gotten over it. Like I feel embarrassed still. Like,
No, I'm the same way. I wouldn't do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm the
You
same way.
know,
I've
but
tried it a few times, and it's just uncomfortable for
yeah,
sure. I don't
yeah.
know why. Maybe it's not, of course it's my own ego, I guess, of thinking somebody is even paying any attention to me at all, right? Like nobody's really paying attention to me. I could be
And
out there talking to my friend, my whoever
yeah,
on the phone, and they wouldn't know any different, right? So,
yeah.
so it's kind of like changing my own perspective. I agree with you about those things, but where I like what you have there is it's a tool that you don't have to have your phone hear you, right? Like that mic allows you to just speak regularly
Mhm, mhm.
instead of having them. There's other noise around, and it's going to capture that noise. And I have a little mic myself that I just started using, just a little one that I got. It was really small, it's over there, but
Yeah,
really small. Same thing. I can pin it. I can put the little USB port right in the bottom, and I can record and do anywhere. And
yeah,
so I haven't explored that yet in terms of like out in public, but I also um, go do it in my car. I think that's very comfortable for me. Or usually it's at home. But what I like what you are doing is because I get ideas about stuff all
mhm,
day. Like if I'm
mhm,
talking to somebody and they say something, I'm like, I need to talk about that, or I need
mhm.
to share something about that. And I just sometimes when I write it down, I'll forget like how I wanted to say it or and it comes out wrong. And I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to be more organic like you and authentic in that moment when it ever happens. I just got to figure out how I want to do it and what that's going to look like for sure.
yeah.
But I think that's more engaging for people. It's like it's not necessarily like a robot, like somebody just talking at you about a topic. It's your true feelings and thoughts about that situation in the moment. And
Yeah.
that's what, for me, I found has helped make better connections for myself. At first, I'm robotic a little bit too. I like structure. Structure
Hmm.
makes me feel safe, and
Hmm.
I like structure when I'm speaking to people. That's kind of how I've learned how to be more of a public speaker in my different roles because I'm a very shy person. I
Yeah.
really don't talk a lot, and so when I post stuff, I want to have some major points that I hit. So I try to at least write down two or three like keywords that I want to make sure I hit and make sure I talk about in whatever the topic is. More recent one that I did was about some information that came out from the media around math scores,
Hmm.
right? And how there's this big decline in math scores. And,
Yeah.
for me, it's like this messaging is damaging to communities. And we forget that we had a pandemic and we
Yeah.
forget that there was other factors involved. Teachers resigned and kids hadn't been in school for a while. And so math is on. Anyway, I went into some of those components and that was a lot because that's a relevant topic for people, right? It's something
Yeah.
that people are thinking about, they hear about, they might be in their communities, parents are complaining about, and as an administrator, you definitely have to be ready for that
Yeah.
kind of conversation if it comes up. So just finding things that are relevant to people is
Yeah.
important to me.
And I feel like when I think about social media, I think about the videos that I stay and watch, right? Like the videos that I stay and watch are videos that are authentic. Like that are real and authentic, and it doesn't look like it's really scripted. It doesn't look like it's I stay and watch a whole video that's authentic, and I see emotion, and I see like I could see eyes, I could read the person speak, and you could still see that it genuinely means something to them. I'll make that emotional connection through the video, like, oh, I want to hear what this guy has to say. Look at his face, look at his eyes, look at the way
Mhm.
he's, it looks like he's just one taking this whole thing. It's not scripted. He's just talking as I'll watch those videos. But if it's super clean, like if it's super like scripted and cut and graphics, I mean, yeah, it's entertaining. Like it might be entertaining, but like I want the real. Like I want the
Mhm.
real stuff. I don't want something that's entertaining. Like I want real things.
Mhm.
So that kind of changed my perspective on making my videos lately. And also too, I don't deal with behaviors like I used to. Like I don't deal with like in my old school, my job as a dean and as a teacher, as a classroom teacher, as my job as a dean, and as my other roles as the assistant principal. I was dealing with behavior all the time, all the time. And now I'm not. I'm not dealing with it as much.
Mhm.
Nowhere near as much. I'm dealing with all kinds of other issues. There's other things here. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, I can't be fake and talk about things that I'm not directly dealing with and give a fake example of me talking to a kid that never really happened. I go, that's just fake to me, and I don't want to be fake.
Mhm.
So, how do I bring up things that are happening with me that relate to people that watch my content? And then I don't want to be pigeonholed either. I don't just want to have to talk about one thing because that's no fun
Yeah.
to me. It's
Yeah.
just no fun to me. So like when I make my funny little clips about winter break, I like making those little funny things. Yeah, winter break. We all know that winter break, and we all want it. We all want it. When I posted some things about me going to Oaxaca and some vacation stuff, I posted that. Um, that was fun. I took a walk. It was like, I don't know, it was like 7 a.m. It was like a Monday. I was in Oaxaca. It was like 7 a.m. And I knew kids were getting dropped off for school. So I just walked out my Airbnb and I was walking around. I was trying to see I just want to see where the schools were. So I was
Mhm.
just walking. I saw kids getting dropped off. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. And I had my little pocket camera. And I was just I was taking my take on the trip. You know, I was just walking around, filming myself, talking, and that was fun to me. That was fun to me. And I don't want my social media to feel like a chore, a job, a
Mhm.
second job. I want to just put out things that are relevant to me, that mean something to me, and that could help other people. And I don't want to have to be that one trick pony, like, oh, say it again. Oh, say the same thing again and
Mhm.
again and again. I don't want to be that. I'm not that.
Right.
I'm not that. I'm so many other things. I'm so many other things. And it so happens that I know about classroom management, and that's where I started, right? And
Right.
so I started talking about classroom management, and then it's just like, okay, you're a classroom management guy, and then I was like, yeah, but I'm other things too. So this second year in social media, I'm like, okay, I'm going on my third year. You want to? I told myself, you want to talk about things that you want to talk about, and that you're. This is not a job. This
Right.
is not a job. Like, don't make it feel like a chore that you have. It's not a job. Eat your food and pick up your camera, and you're at the restaurant and you want to talk about this. Oh, dang, this food is delicious. Like, look at, guys, this is good. Send, boom. People
Yeah.
all could relate to that. People could
Right.
relate
Right.
to going to a restaurant, eating good food, being in good company. And hey, look, I just want to share my food. This is what I'm eating. I had a great conversation with so and so. We talked about this and this and this. And hey, all right, guys, you have a good one. And bam, you know, that kind of stuff is what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah, I'll still talk about education because that's my job, but I like health and fitness. I like to work out. I run. I'm probably gonna run the LA Marathon again. There's a whole different things that I do. I go to the gym.
Hmm.
Um, there's just so many different things I do, and if you know about a year ago, it started to feel like a chore. It
Mm.
felt like a job when I had to sit down and type everything up. Type up my script. This is what I want to say. This is all. Let me sit here, and I would write. It was a good practice to write, but when it started to feel like this is a second job, I don't know.
He's like, I don't want that.
Especially now, in my new current role, I don't want no other jobs. Like,
Right.
don't give me any other job. Do not give me any other
I
job.
said that the other day. Don't give me any other jobs.
Yeah, and like the podcast, like when the podcast feels like it's a chore, when it feels like you know, when it feels like a job, another job, I'd probably stop doing it. I'd probably stop doing it. Like, you know
Mhm.
what? This is a job. I don't want another job. I just want to have a conversation with somebody to talk about things that we both could talk about. And right now
Right.
it's social media, right? But I just
Right.
want to
Right.
talk about that or something that's interesting. Let's interview the guy that whatever is a vegan. Bring on the guy that's a vegan. I don't know anything about veganism, but it interests me. Like, how do you get your protein?
Right.
How do you gain muscle? What do you do with that? What like I have questions. I have questions and I want to answer. So
It's
um,
a little bit for selfish reasons, but it's also to help other people to get some information too, right?
yeah.
I that's the way I say it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I agree. One thing that I like that you do that I wish I not that I wish I think everybody has a brand, right? Everybody has kind of what they're into, what they enjoy, and for me, you know, I want to be able to do a little bit more of that, but I am so interested, and right now I'm so interested in the history of education.
Like
Like,
your book talks. You've been putting out
oh
the
my
book talks.
gosh, I'm
Yeah.
so interested in that. I
Yeah.
don't even know what, but I'm so interested in that because I see what's happening in the world now, and I'm like, all that stuff is from that. Like, it is not, this is not like reinvented. It's all happening again
Hmm.
in a different way, in a different spin. And I, I am just so interested. And that's why I say for selfish reasons. Like, for me, I'm like, other people need to know this. Like,
Hmm.
if you're in education and you are seeing, parents get upset and you work in this community where parents are running to the school and And you feel like I've worked in those schools before where the parents just get whatever they want and they just come in and they
Right.
demand and they get
Yeah.
it. And you're like, why does that happen? That's not okay. We are the experts. There was a time in history where that was seen as the best thing for kids, for the community, for schools.
Hmm.
And that's where those same ideas kind of stem from. And so people have still utilized that and leveraged that as a tool to advocate for their child or try to make education better. And really, what I thought was the most fascinating was control how their kid is taught and who teaches their kid. Like,
Yeah.
and that was back in the 60s and 70s
Hmm.
when when they were trying to desegregate, right?
Hmm.
And people did not want that. And so those ideas are still things that educators are going to continuously face
Yeah.
in different way, whether you're a leader or a teacher or whatever. And just realizing that, I think, helps you get some clarity on, oh, here's what's happening right now. How do I want to navigate this for myself? And so I am so fascinated with those kind of things in education. I'm like so addicted to it. And people might say, oh, you're just all about that. And you don't talk about your real life. But
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the life for
Yeah.
me. That is
Yeah.
something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, you're just trying to share the things that you enjoy, find other people that enjoy those things, and want to ask people questions like us talking to me is a chance for me to learn from you. I love what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I just admire it so much that I just want to talk and learn from you and hear how you think and see your perspective. And I think that's how we all grow. And
Yeah,
so,
that's definitely how we all grow. Definitely how we grow. And I would say you just keep pressing into what you like to do. Like you like to talk about that, those book talks about education and the history of education. You keep pressing into that, because you could see your passion in what you have to say. Like I give you, my Spanish is better now, right?
mhm,
Um, my Spanish is better. I understand a lot more Spanish now, but I would say like 15 years ago, I went to a concert. I went to a concert with my wife, and my Spanish was horrible back then. It was horrible. She has great Spanish. We went to go see Juan Gabriel, right? This Mexican singer, great, right? I don't know what the songs are about. I have no
right.
idea what these songs are about, right? But so we're going to the concert. We're in Las Vegas. We're getting ready or whatever. And I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, let's go. Let's go to this concert. So we're going to concert. We're walking up, and everybody, you could feel the energy, and everybody is walking up to the concert, and they start to sing one of his songs. I'm like,
Mhm,
I don't really know what's going on, but I could feel the energy, and
right.
everybody's passionate, but I can see it in their eyes. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. We get to our seats, and he comes out, and then the crowd goes wild. I'm looking at everybody. I'm looking at the face. I'm looking at everybody's face, and everybody's like, they're all electrified. He
Mhm,
starts to sing, and I'm just listening. I don't know what the song is about, but I could feel the energy. I could feel the passion, the way he moves, the way he's taught, the way he's singing. The person next to me looks like they're about to cry, and I'm like, man, this is amazing.
mhm,
And it was all about the passion. It was all about the energy. It wasn't necessary. I didn't know what was said necessarily. Now I love like he had passed away, but we'll watch him on YouTube. We'll watch his videos, on YouTube. But um, I love it. I love it, and people could see passion.
yeah.
People could feel energy in even in a book talk or
Yeah.
any even classroom management. They could
Mhm,
see it. And so I think that that's what you want to convey is the passion, the energy, like this is how I feel about X, Y, or Z, this is how I feel about this. And they can see it in your eyes. And I think that that's important. And I feel like back to the camera and going out in public, in my car, I could be passionate. Like I
mhm,
could be
mhm,
passionate because I'm in my car and nobody's around. And in my room right now, my door's closed or whatever. I could speak loudly and be
right.
passionate. You can see it in my face. When I'm outside, it's like, hey guys, this is like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But when I get there, because it's gonna happen,
Right.
I'm just gonna keep practice. I told myself this, Ray. I said, one a day. One, you have to do one a day, even if you don't post it. You have to do one in
Right.
public a day, and you just get the reps under your belt. You get it under your belt to where like you feel fine doing it in public, and you could speak with passion. So that's what I've been practicing, these one a days. One a day, do it in public for whatever amount of time. You don't have to post it because you're probably like, I don't know, and you stop
Right.
talking and you put it down. But you want to do one a day, and I've been getting better. I've been getting better, and I'm gonna continue to do that. And my when I think about 2025, right? I'm like, okay, you got to go deeper in YouTube. TikTok might be gone. It might
Yeah.
happen. It might be gone. I grew my Instagram in a year up to 20K. So I
Nice.
always had an Instagram, right? But I never really did anything with it. I tried and never did anything. Last year, well, this year, I pushed hard on Instagram. I was like, all right, let me push hard on Instagram. Let me like put my what are they called? The stories, like whatever, like
Mhm.
you put 4 or 5 stories a day, like what you do, is little things, and post the same TikTok videos that you have
Right.
here
The
on
same ones.
on
Right.
Instagram,
Yeah.
right? And so that's what I was doing. That was the only strategy I had, was post your stories and then share it on your TikToks on your Instagram. And I got up to 20K, up to 20K this year. And I was like, okay, now you got to go to YouTube. Because I've been like, the only thing I do with YouTube is I'll post my podcast on YouTube, and
Hmm.
sometimes I'll post reels. I think it's called YouTube Reels. Um, Sometimes I'll post one reel a week, which is nothing
Right.
compared to what I do on Instagram, and compared to what I do on TikTok is nothing. So I know that I have to go deeper into that. In one year, I have I don't know, like 250 followers
Nice.
on YouTube. If you got 500, you could monetize. That's one of the criterias to monetize. 500
Mm.
followers, and there's other things like watch time and all this other stuff. And you can monetize with 500, as low as 500 followers. I'm not going to monetize at 500. I want to monetize at 1,000, because I feel like at 1,000 followers, I probably have a good enough audience, right? And so my
Right.
goal next year is to push hard on YouTube and see if I get 1,000 followers in the year and the right amount of watch time and all the other criteria. But 1,000 followers. But I gotta attack YouTube like I attack TikTok and
Hmm.
Instagram, because I wasn't. It's good that I put out one video a week on YouTube. That's good. One long 50-minute video I put on YouTube. But then the reels on YouTube, I need to put those as well.
Right.
And what's funny is when I was consistent, because there was a time where I was consistent. I would put a reel, and I would get something like 10 watches, like something small. I was like,
Hmm.
dang, I get like 0 watches. I'm like, what the heck is going on? But I kept doing it. I kept doing it. And then all of a sudden one would be like, I don't know, like 1,000. I'm like, what? And so I was like, man, if you were just consistent, like you were on the other one. The only problem that I had though was it was more work, because they had to be 60 seconds or less. So
Oh,
on
okay.
TikTok, yeah, on TikTok, I was making 1 minute videos, 60 plus seconds, and I couldn't put them on YouTube.
Mm.
And so that was like extra work. And so so my strategy now, if I were to go, next year, right, I'm going to go push hard. I'm going to do multiple videos a day, like at least 2 videos, one long and one short. And the short ones I could go over to YouTube, and I could just post once a day on YouTube. So on TikTok and Instagram, I could do 2 a days, and then on YouTube, I could put shorts or whatever. Yeah, it's called shorts. I
Hmm.
could put shorts, one short a day over there, plus whatever my long content is, the 50-minute podcast. And so and I have a lot of different things. Like I record on my phone. I use CapCut.
Hmm.
And CapCut is good. I use CapCut. And I also have this app called Captions. and captions gives me my captions on my videos. So like,
Yeah, I
so,
was wondering about that.
yeah, so I pay like I got captions when it was cheap. Like
Hmm.
captions was when I first got it. I think I only paid like I don't know like $5.99 a month for it, but now I think it's like $12 or something like that. But it's like $5.99 a month, and I get captions on my video. So I just that I think that that's important. So I use captions. I use CapCut. Um, I use Canva sometimes, and those are some of the things I use. But that would be my strategy going in is one YouTube short video a day,
Yeah.
and two on Instagram, and two on TikTok if TikTok's still around. And I want to try to do Facebook, which I have to start my new Facebook account.
You're gonna be posted everywhere, which
Well,
is,
I already am. I feel like people like, yeah, I can't even get
but
around it anymore.
I think I agree with what you're saying in terms of the consistency. That's what I struggled with when I was on multiple platforms. Right, I would because X, Twitter, whatever, wouldn't, I had to have it a certain amount and certain length, and so I had to make cuts, and then
Yeah,
I would. Instagram was probably easiest, like you said, because you can just take pretty much what you have and just post it over there. And so, but I just wanted to get a little bit more consistent with posting on a consistent basis every day, and not having to worry about, oh, did I post it over here? Did I post it over there? What's happening over here? How many views? How many things? And so I just wanted to be consistent on one thing and get that habit before I start expanding and sharing in other places, and then figure out what that system is going to. I'm a system guy. So trying to
yeah,
figure out what that system is going to look like to post and then share. But something that you mentioned that I think is good. I like the caption thing. I'm going to have to look into that because I like that part of your videos because you can see the words and as you're
mhm,
talking, which I really appreciate, just for multiple reasons, just for different people and different needs, and
yeah.
but also the visual aspect of it is nice. Um, but I think the long form, short form thing is something that I've been thinking a lot about, and that's why I was looking at YouTube, to just in case TikTok goes away, which it possibly could.
Mhm.
Then having a YouTube, maybe of those book talks, possibly,
Yeah,
most likely is that's what it's going to be,
yeah,
and then cut and clip, taking those into smaller clips, like maybe I don't even know how long, a 20-minute thing or 10-minute thing, and making them into like some smaller clips
yeah,
that I can post on different sites, and just making it more efficient. That I'm maybe taking some time, like one day during the week, and making a lot of content, and then chopping it up so I can use it multiple days. So I'm still posting, and then maybe practice, like you said, doing some other things like walking outside and talking in front of people,
yeah, yeah,
because that, you're right, you got to make it a habit to get used to it, just like this. I
yeah,
mean, just like this, I had to make it a habit and feel comfortable at the very beginning, and didn't know what I was saying, and didn't really know where it was going.
yeah.
But after you do it for a while, you just kind of have a flow and have an idea what you want to try to convey and how you want to convey it. And so I think that having a process and then doing it over time helps you feel more comfortable, and get confident in your work.
I also have this TikTok downloader thing on my phone.
Mm.
So like I'll make the video, right? I'll upload to TikTok, I'll copy the link and I'll put it on the TikTok downloader. From the TikTok downloader, it will download my video from TikTok, where it'll have the caption I put, it'll have the description of the video and all of my hashtags that I put, and all I do is just copy and paste that to Instagram.
Mm.
So it's not like I have to redo it all, even the sound. So if I use the sound on TikTok, it will record the same sound, the same music background music, and it'll do all of that. Whereas before I had this downloader, right? I say I made a TikTok video. I made the heading, right? I had to think of a description or whatever for the video, put some for whatever hashtags. Then I go on Instagram and do the exact same
Yeah,
thing
that's
over,
what's
and that would
done.
just
Yeah.
that's just time consuming.
Hmm.
So I'm like, man, what is the easier way? So I got this program, this little app or whatever, and it does it for me. So all I do is copy and paste the link in there, and I got the video and I just upload it to Instagram, and it saves so much time. So
That's
that's
good.
an yeah, that's another system I have in place where do that and yeah. The only problem is if it's a 4K video, it looks horrible if I do it that way. So anything
Um,
that's high definition of 4K or higher, I'm like, I have to do it the old school way here. So I have to just do it all over again on Instagram.
mhm.
Um, but it is systems. You got to have those systems in place. Yeah.
Yeah. So how often? So you said you post on TikTok once a day, twice a day,
I try right now. I'm shooting for twice a day. Like
twice a day.
20 and no, always it's been once a day for the most part. But moving into 2025, I'm shooting for twice a day. I'm shooting for twice a day. If I can hit three, I'm gonna hit three.
Hmm.
I'm gonna hit three if I can. And see where that takes me. I don't even know what the end game is. To tell you the truth, really, I don't. I don't know what the end game is. I'm not monetizing anything. Like I'm
Yeah.
not like when it comes to like charging people to do. I haven't charged anybody. I haven't charged anybody. I have systems in place to where when it's time to do it, I'm able to do it. Right. I have systems in place where I could do it, but I haven't yet. I haven't because I don't know. Like I feel like when I start charging for certain things, then it becomes a job again.
Hmm.
Like it becomes a job, and then I don't want another job. I just
Right.
don't want another job. I want to have fun with it, and but like I don't know. I
I,
don't.
I get
That's
what you're saying. I
yeah.
get, I get what you're saying. Not to cut you off where you finish your thought. I apologize.
No. But that's just how I feel. Like I just don't. I'm sure one day I will. I'm sure one day I will, but I don't know if I want another job.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I do monetize it for sure, um, because I think that what it's kind of interesting for me. Like I kind of like the game of helping people find jobs. Just like I like reading about the history. I like helping people know that so that they can educate them on how to present themselves in an interview or in a job. Or I just like that because I struggled with it personally. And so I know that there's some value in it for especially people that are first generation people,
Yeah,
first generation educators don't really understand how to navigate and don't really have anybody to ask for help. And but it's not like I'm like being crazy about it, right? It's like
yeah,
a little bit of fun for my time, but also I enjoy you telling me that I enjoy you telling me that you made it to where you want to go, and that journey that we took together of helping you to get there is exciting for me. And so it doesn't feel like a job to me.
that's good.
It feels like it's fun. It's fun to listen to people's stories,
Yeah,
to listen to things they've tried before, to try to help them um, be authentic again. Because I think we lose a lot of that in our work. Like you just try to be in the system, and you hear all these buzzwords about who you should be and how you should behave instead of um, remembering why you started, remembering what you do well, remembering what your joy is in it. I just like that whole process with people, and so that's I enjoy it, and for me the end game is like it's bigger than just that. For me, the end game is how can I help schools? How can I help everybody work for a great school?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that means having a wonderful leader that really cares about you and having And I'm no judgment for anybody that's in the role now, but I just hear so many horror stories about people working for people that don't really understand the bigger picture of the work, right?
Hmm.
And so that's what I'm trying to do, help as many people as I can that want to do that so that they can create those environments for people, and then the environment for kids
That's
that they
good.
can be successful. That's kind of out there and humongous, and I don't know how far I'll get,
Yeah.
but I want to do that for as many people as I can while I'm here.
Yeah. And I think about it, it's for me, it's like, how do I help people? How do I help people help educate students with difficult behavior? How do we not leave these guys behind?
Yeah.
That's what my
Big
thing is.
question.
Like, how do we not forget about these guys and just, include them, and yeah, their behavior is rough, but like, like, how do we include them? So like, let me teach people how to work with these type of students. That's how I feel like I do. And
Hmm.
you know um
You do a great job of it. Let me tell you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
Yep.
that. And maybe even me posting about workouts and running, and I feel like even that can help make a connection with these type of students as well. Like, I feel like somehow that connects. And I don't know, that's just how my thinking is. Like, how do I help other educators work with students with difficult behavior, and see
Yeah.
them as just important as other people, and let's not write those guys off.
Right.
um
A
you know
big
and
problem.
yeah, it is, and it's not an easy task. It's not easy at all. you know
Well, what you say? See, this brings me back to that book, man. I just go right back to it.
Yeah.
I'm just like right back there with what you're saying because, like, I think what you're doing, what I admire about what you do, and the other postings that you do that may not seem like they relate to the classroom management or working with students with difficult behavior, is they're about how to keep yourself in a good space so that you can be in a good space
Hmm.
when you're with those difficult behaviors,
Hmm.
like working out, taking care of yourself, making sure that you enjoy moments with family and friends and eating or whatever. Those are all part of working with students with difficult behavior. Because if you're sitting around just talking about them and how terrible it is, and you're
Hmm.
still back in that moment, you're
Hmm.
still back there with that kid. You have not left work. You
Yeah,
are still at work
you're still at work.
wherever,
That's a good
wherever
point.
you are.
That's a good
And,
point.
and so being able to just say that was a moment and this is how I handle it. But I can also enjoy this moment with my family. I can go work out. I can, just be in the car, just laughing about something or being silly. I think that helps people be human and know that the kids that are having those difficult behaviors are human too, and they have those experiences too, and you can
Yeah.
connect with them in that way. And
Yeah.
I just think we forget about that because we're so in education, we're so about like I think we're too robotic in it,
We
and
are.
we're told not to, be ourselves. Don't show too much emotion. Don't do this.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing too is, like, you see those TikToks or Instagram pages where it's all about, let's talk crap about
Mm,
education and being you're a teacher. You're a teacher, and you're just complaining. You're a teacher, you're in education, and you haven't quit your job, and all you do is just complain about the system and the administration and your students and just the parents, everything. All you do is complain, and you're in education. I don't get that. But those pages get so many views and so many likes and so many shares, and everybody's like, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." You
mhm.
know, um, it just blows me away that that's what it is, and they're successful. And I don't want to be that.
Mm-mm.
I don't want to be that. That's something I don't want to be. And so I'm like, okay, my page is not gonna be like that. And when people make comments now, like people make a comment, I don't even want to defend myself. Like, whatever, you believe that, great. I think I've said this before to you maybe, but I'll just block people. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
block. I'm good. Like, you go your way, I go my way, and we never have to see each other's pages ever, and I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll block. I'll just, like, I don't have time to defend myself. And I don't want to be that page that's just negative about education and teaching and the system. And nah, that's I have no time for any negativity at all.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna
Yeah.
post something, it's about is let's motivate somebody, let's change somebody's mindset, let's lift somebody up, let's find a solution to a problem that you're mentioning. Yeah, okay, this is a problem. Well, what's the solution to that? Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. So that's that was when I do my
Yeah.
social media. That's what I have in mind. Like, let me be the page that is successful with being positive.
Yeah.
Let me be that page.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That's why I appreciate what you're doing, and these conversations we have. I understand it's hard to find other folks that are in that mindset. I mean, it's very difficult to you get judged and told that you kind of don't you forget about it. You forget about what it's like and
Yeah,
all these things that people say about your perspective on things. And I think that's part of going back to your difficult students. Like, I think that's part of the change I had to make in myself to be able to work with the kids that were more difficult
yeah,
was that I had to stop trying to control, start caring, start trying to make sure I think beyond that moment and not stay in that moment about what they said or what.
yeah.
It's a moment in time. We all make mistakes. We all say things that don't mean,
Mhm.
and you got to realize how to work through that, or you'll be stuck in that moment. And that's what I think about those pages, like those pages where people, and this is my perspective, and people might disagree, but those pages where folks are just talking about that stuff, you're just stuck there.
Mhm.
You're stuck in that moment forever.
Yeah,
Are you going to stay that way and think that of everybody?
yeah. And how successful can you be? Like,
I
if your
don't.
mindset is that, if that's your mindset, like, then how successful can you actually be? Like, you're limited. You're stunting your growth. You're limiting yourself. You're just, like you're saying, stuck in a moment, and you could never move forward. You're just stuck there. And
But it's yeah, but it's no different than the kid that has a difficult behavior.
yeah,
That's what's so interesting to me. Like those kids are beat down for whatever reason, something happened, and they don't know how to get out of it. So sometimes you just give up and you just take it out on the world, right?
mhm.
What's the difference between those adults and those kids?
That's a good point. That's a good point, because they're stuck in their moment.
Yeah, how do you get out of that? I don't know. That's just I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what I see
And
for
just
myself.
like those difficult kids that like an audience, right? You're a difficult student and you like an audience to, like, do something funny in the class, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're the one. You made us all laugh, and do it
Mhm.
again." And they do something like disrupt the class, and everybody's cheering them on. And it's the same thing on social media,
Yeah.
right? You make a funny post. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that kid. Yeah, like, yeah, their parents, or yeah, admin. Oh, yeah, remember your why. Ha ha ha. It's the same thing. Like you were saying. That's a good point. I never thought of it like that. That's a good
That's
point.
that's what I think of it. But it's also your reputation, right? Is that how you want to be perceived in the world? Like, is that how you want to be and want people to see you as somebody that I don't know, just talks about an admin that because they made a mistake, or a kid because they, or the parent because they came in and asked for something that was a little ridiculous. Of course,
Yeah.
they're going to ask for something ridiculous, just like
Yeah.
anybody else. They're going to push and see
Yeah.
how far they could go, just like
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah.
And so, it's just interesting to me that, and I can't say that I've always not, I've been in that space. So I understand what that feels like and how you get stuck there. But I had to go back to myself and say, I'm not going to stay in that moment anymore because I'm not living anymore. I'm
Yeah.
basically kind of repeating it over and over. Anytime that something like that happens, I'm gonna. Anyway, I'm off topic.
No, 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 no. It's fine. It's a good point. You're making a lot of good points, man. You're making a lot of good points. It's fine. It's fine, Ray. I know we were talking about social media.
I know I got off topic, but
It's fine, bro. It's
this
fine.
is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, go you. I'll
Well,
go.
I just said we were just talking about social media, and it's yeah, and TikTok might be gone, and
Mhm.
you're gonna have to make some changes. What are your changes you're gonna make? You're gonna have to make some changes in 2025.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for me, I'm definitely gonna start a YouTube. I'm definitely gonna try this structure of long form, short form, right? Like doing
Yeah,
some content that is a little bit longer and then cutting it into smaller pieces to share.
yeah,
I got to figure out how I'm gonna clip it, what that's gonna look like, and how time consuming that's gonna be.
yeah,
But I think that's a path I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna start figuring out how to be more efficient with spreading it in some other platforms. So
yes,
LinkedIn and Instagram for sure. I don't know about Facebook yet, and I'm definitely not getting on X. So
no, yeah,
I'm not even getting.
yeah.
That's not even my purview. So it'll be those platforms for sure.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what happens in a year. Like what happens in a year? Like how far can you go with that in a year?
Hmm.
And just be consistent. And I'm looking forward to like, when I start the Facebook, the brand new Facebook, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to YouTube and see if I get to 1,000 followers in a year. I got 200 and whatever 50 this year. Can I get 750 more? So to get to 1,000, so that I'm looking forward to that. I want to be more creative. I want to be more funny. There's a funny side to me that it's hard to put it out there because I'm talking about students with difficult behavior, right? And so like it's hard to put it out there. Like how can you be funny with that? So like I have to find other avenues to be funny because I like to consume funny content. And if it's
Hmm.
funny and smart, even better. Funny and smart is good. So how do I be creative and put out funny and smart things? I saw this bodybuilder. There's this bodybuilder's page I was on, and he was doing some funny, smart stuff about bodybuilding. It was pretty creative. And I was like, man, I was just consuming. I was like, man, if you could take this same idea that
Right.
he's doing, this funny, smart thing, and he's still teaching people about bodybuilding, but he's making it funny and smart, and you do it in your content, then it's easier to consume.
Hmm.
Right? More people will be able to consume that because it's funny versus if it's just about one thing and you're just serious talking about this is what you do, do this X, Y, and Z. Only a certain group of people will appreciate that. So I saw that, and then Steve from Blues Clues. You know Steve from Blues Clues?
I know I've heard
Okay,
that
so
name before. Yeah.
Blues Clues was a cart. It was like a
Cartoon.
show with a little blue little dog or whatever. And there was a guy named Steve, and he wore a green sweater and he sat on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He has a TikTok, and when I see these innovative TikToks, I'm like, yes, this is it. This is money right here. So I saw, a few months back, I saw his TikTok, and he comes up and he's like, he pulls up on the camera, like he's off camera, and he said, "Help me take a drink." He's like, "So tell me about your day." Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's just asking you to tell you, and you're just staring at his eyes, right? And you're like mesmerized, like he's so calming, and you're like, man, this is money. This is
Yeah.
money right here, and all he's doing is just, mm-hmm, yeah. And he drinks
Yeah.
his coffee or whatever. It's like an outside somewhere, and you're like, man, this is good. And so when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, you got to be innovative. You got to switch, and it's fun to be innovative, and it's fun to try new
Yeah.
things, and it's
Yeah.
fun to be funny. It's fun to try a whole different. Do a skit, do something different. How do you use a skit and still talk about students with difficult behavior? Like, and be funny. So these are ideas that I have going into 2024. Like, I'm doing, I'm gonna do all of that. I'm gonna do all of that, and I'm gonna have fun with it. And whoever wants to stay along for the ride can stay along for the ride. But I would just have to do what's best for me. And
Yeah.
if you like it, great, great. I enjoyed it making it. So, so
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. And so, yeah, you do a lot of green screen stuff. You
Mhm.
put a lot of green screen stuff right there, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
seen that. Yeah.
I I I I I like your idea of being more creative. I think you have to push the envelope for sure. And learn watching other people's TikToks has helped me to be a lot more creative in terms of, yeah, I could do that. Here's where I'm gonna do it. Sometimes I have to think about like how I'm gonna structure it a little bit. It might take me a longer because I'm not that creative. And I don't know how funny I am. I don't think I'm that funny.
Yeah, everybody can be funny.
But I do enjoy like the skits and the acting out of certain situations. Like one TikTok that I have that went pretty that had a lot of views was something about people leaving their job and somebody being depressed at home, and then somebody like me just walking through a door saying, "Come here, come
Yeah,
on,"
yeah.
and it was just something silly that I thought of, but it got a lot of views. So just stuff like that. I think pushing myself to be a little bit more creative, a lot more creative with the content I want to put out is definitely something I'm always trying to do because you can't stay still. It
You
gets
can't.
boring.
You can't stay still. And I feel like if you do like, if you follow like a step by step guide. Like if somebody who was like an influencer gave you a step, but make sure that your profile picture looks like this. Make sure that you have these words in your, make sure that every one of your posts has this in front of it, and they just like, you look so commercial. You look like Target. You look like Walmart. You look like every other person that was influenced by an influencer to make a
Hmm.
TikTok or an Instagram, right? That's what you
And
look
it's
like.
stressful because you're
Yeah,
trying to do it like they did it or whatever it
yeah,
is.
yes. And so that is not what you should be doing. That is not what you should be doing. You should be you. And
Yes.
whatever you is, you be you, and you do it in creative ways, right? Whatever your creativity is, you do that.
Hmm.
You do that, whether it's green screen and your book talks, and you be creative about the books, or it's my lane about difficult students, or it's bodybuilding, or it's Steve Blues Clues, be whatever,
Looking in
like,
your eyes.
yeah, you just do something
Yeah.
that's funny and creative but still sends that message and still helps people, and that's what you have to do. And that's my plan for 2025 coming up, is, and have fun. Right?
Yes.
Life is short.
You gotta
Life
have
is short.
fun.
Have fun.
If it,
You know,
like you said, if it becomes a job, then it's not that's not a good thing. You got to be definitely push your envelope for sure. I
absolutely.
think for me personally, I can't. I have to enjoy and feel like I'm giving some value to somebody at the same time. Those are
Yeah.
two important things for me.
Yeah. Well, Ray, I'm looking forward to seeing your new stuff. Right. We had this conversation. Right. We were reaching the limit right here, but we had this conversation, and from this point forward, I'm looking to see more creative stuff from you, and I hope that you expect more from me.
Yes.
And we can talk again sometime down the line, and then see like, hey, what's going on with the stuff, and how's it going. And but I'm looking to see. I'm gonna push you, Ray. I want to see some new
Good.
stuff from you.
Good. I'll
Yeah,
do the same for you.
I
I
want to
want to
see
see
you.
that Blues Clues from you. You
That's
should be.
right. I'm gonna post it tomorrow. I'm gonna put a camera in my dining room and drink my coffee and be like,
Thank
how you guys doing? Like,
That is awesome.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and I'm just gonna have fun with it.
Good.
Life is short, Ray.
That's right. Enjoy every moment. I appreciate this conversation as usual. It's always fun.
I
It's
appreciate it as
always
well.
learning for sure. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Don't leave yet, Ray. Let me go. I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
stop it, but don't leave yet.